Welcome, everyone, to episode 18 of The Phoenix Report. I'm Jack Connor. My guests tonight are an acoustic duo currently touring the country right now. One half of it is right here with me right now. He's all the way from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Dellacoma Rio.
How are you, everyone here and across the world?
Yes,
thanks for listening in.
Of course, formerly of the band Sunset Riot, and also fronts his own band, now known as simply Dellacoma.
Correct.
It's named for you, obviously.
Yes, it's not a solo project. It's a real band.
Right.
Band.
It's kind of like, everyone thinks Bon Jovi is a guy. It's the band.
That's it.
So
that's it.
It's not that.
You get it, man.
And of course, along with Dellacoma Rio is a gentleman on guitar. He was a founding member of a band you may have heard of called Shinedown. Yeah. He also was briefly a member of the band Fuel. He is now, I believe, doing a lot of songwriting for other artists as well. Mr. Jasin Todd.
Well, hello.
Very cool. So, guys, how did this all come together? I mean, you guys decided to get together and tour together. Had you guys worked together before?
No, pretty much. Jason owed me a life debt.
Really?
And, yeah. And I busted him out of prison on Tatooine.
Yeah, I was about to say, was it on Life Day or was it after?
No, it was after that.
Okay.
It was after that, like
Fantastic.
Django Fett, like,
He's the worst, yeah.
He is the worst, man. And I talked to him though. I talked to him and I said, you know what? You gotta let Jason out of this. And he said, look, man, I feel you, but he's got to pay something. So I said, all right, his penance will be he's got to do a little acoustic tour of Florida with me.
Well, I mean, of course, he was trying to turn him into the Job of the Hut. We all know
he was,
that.
obviously.
Yes. Right. Well, he had a price on his head. He made
if you eat enough frog legs, it may.
As we did today.
Jason, is it true that you made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs?
I did.
That's impressive.
I can't believe you know this.
Yes.
Not many people know that.
I love the fact that we're three guys like talking about Star Wars, have nothing to do with our music right now. That's amazing.
No, I mean, Jason and I, we met on tour. He was he was filling in for a band that a good friend of his was managing, and my band opened up for them in Joplin, Missouri. Would you believe it?
Right.
And exchanged numbers. And when I was back in Australia, I just shot him a text and said, "Hey, what do you reckon about doing an acoustic tour?" And he just happened to be free, so we're just doing 10 shows in 11 days. Just playing some music and having a bit of fun.
Now, I mean, obviously the song selection, deals from a lot of your past catalogs. Jason, obviously your work with Shinedown from the first two records, and I know you included a bunch of songs from. I know you included a few Fuel songs as well. Now I know you were with that band just briefly. You weren't on any of the records, but what was the process as far as the song selection, like as far as choosing what to play?
For tonight?
Yeah, I mean just on the tour in general.
Well, you just get some dice.
Right.
Or die. How do you like
I think die would be the singular.
Yeah.
Just see what happens.
We just see what happens, really. It's really every night has been different. Well, we don't really try to... Tonight we kind of had a set list, but we totally went off of it, So it's really, if my thumb goes out or not, that dictates a lot of it. How the peacock is strutting, that also has a lot. That's Dale the peacock.
Right.
That absolutely controls the set list. So really, I don't know. We just call some songs out. We have a few to choose from. We have I learned 28 songs.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty impressive. Like I heard some Stones in there. I heard some. Just a lot of different stuff from your work with Sunset Riot as well.
Yep.
It was really just an interesting set list. There was even some Ultra Bridge in there, which I wasn't expecting.
There was.
Watch Over You.
Yep.
So, how much longer on the rest of the tour do you guys have?
Well, this is only day 3. So it's just
This
beginning.
is day
It feels
3?
like it's been 3 months.
So we're day 3, so we got another 7 shows in the next 8 days.
Yep.
Gotcha. Are there any plans to record together or do anything beyond this, or?
You never know how the wind flies.
That's it. You never know what. You never know what's going to happen. We've only just gotten in a van together, so.
Yeah, we literally just met each other 3 days ago, really.
Wow. So it was sort of a spontaneous thing, correspond in that way.
100%.
It's really a true. I feel like it's a true rock and roll
story,
So,
for sure.
It really is.
Yes.
The first time that we ever played together was on Tuesday night. He got lost and found his way to where I was staying in St. John's, Florida.
Okay.
We bashed through a couple songs, and then on Wednesday we played our first show.
But yeah, I mean, what I liked about your set tonight is that you didn't necessarily try to copy Brent Smith or Brett Scallions or anyone else. You really had, I mean, you have a very unique voice. It lends itself very well to obviously the style that you're doing, but you didn't necessarily try to emulate anyone else. You kind of took those songs and made them your own, which I thought you did a fantastic job of.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously it's day 3 of the tour. We got a few left, sort of around the country, kind of taking it one step at a time. Jason, have you been doing a lot of touring recently? I mean, besides.
Well, no, I did a thing about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, with the Metal All Stars that we did in Europe, all across Eastern Europe, like Zakk Wylde and Joey from Anthrax, and a bunch of us went over there and did that. But other than that, I've just been songwriting. I did something with a band for about 6 months, just kind of filling in, as Dale was saying, on guitar, and that's how I met him. So.
I mean, I think those all-star tours are genius. I hear about a lot of that stuff
That's
happening.
The old guys do, you know.
Well, I mean, no. I mean, I think it's brilliant. You know, if you have
I'm an old time rambler. I call the road my home.
Wow, that's a podcast exclusive, kids. I don't think we've heard that anywhere else, but
but
no,
you will.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got some stuff in the works, writing for other artists. How long have you been doing that? Since
well, for a long time, but I have an upcoming song on the Blackstone Cherry. Is that right? That's it, right? Yes, their new record called Kentucky is coming out this year, so I have a song on that.
Very cool, fantastic Southern rock band. If you haven't heard them, what are you doing? You need to check them out right now.
You should.
Absolutely, and so I mean, obviously, you've been doing a lot of different songwriting now. Like, what do you think? Like, what do you think is the key to having the good hook that radio will recognize? Or is there a particular method to it?
I don't think so. No one knows
it just comes.
You either connect with people or you don't.
Exactly. Do you write more personal experiences or?
100%.
Absolutely.
But I can write a song.
Very cool.
About anything if you want me to.
No doubt. Del, how has everything been touring the States? How does touring the States compare to touring back home in Australia?
I like the shower.
The thing about touring in America, you've got we have 25 million people in Australia, but it's the same landmass, and you've got 300 and something million here. So even though I do a lot of miles over here, but there's so many more people, so I can just drive an hour and I can hit another big city.
Right.
That's what I like about traveling in America is, you've got cities that are bigger than our entire country.
Right.
So it's, even though rock and roll is maybe more underground than it used to be.
Right.
You've still got these pockets, where you can go and you can play Topeka, Kansas, you can play, Billings, Montana,
right.
And wherever it is, there's places, Melbourne, Florida, and
yeah.
people will connect with what you do, and I really enjoy just rolling around and discovering new places and new people who just enjoy listening to rock and roll.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting that you bring that up about it being more underground, and I don't know if it's like this necessarily back home, but it seems like in the States, it's less mainstream than certainly than it used to be. But whereas you find a lot of bands going overseas and playing to a lot of rabid crowds. I mean, Del, how's the rock scene back home? Or is it any?
It's pretty bad.
Is it really?
Not good, really?
In Australia, no. I mean, yeah, it's not good at all.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
It's very, very, very difficult to play rock and roll.
That's disappointing considering that's the country that gave us AC/DC.
In Fuel, pretty much.
Yeah, they love Fuel in Australia.
Market.
Is it really?
Yes.
I mean, I heard that they're big, Kiss fans there as well.
Yes,
obviously.
they are.
And I mean,
I worked with the producer that did all the Kiss Alive stuff.
Why don't they love you if they love Fuel?
Yes,
and they love Kiss.
Well, and Silverchair, another great Australian band.
Somebody likes something.
These days, though, especially on the radio, and even just in general, I don't know. In Australia, it's tough. It's really tough to play rock and roll. Like Pink, she set a record for. She sold out 30 days straight in Sydney.
Really?
Which is huge. No one's ever. She broke Elton John's record or something.
Gotcha.
Like that, you know? But
So it sounds like it's sort of a similar situation over here, where it's just the pop stars and everything. These other genres are so dominant, it gets a little harder to break through.
well, reality shows have taken over as well.
Yeah, well,
Unfortunately,
same here.
You know, reality. We got the X Factors and the Australian Idol and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. Like people think that it's, I just go on TV and I can get in front of an audience and
Right.
and that'll somehow help me write good songs or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it doesn't, but it could also be a nice vehicle, I'd imagine, if you were able to control it. Is that something you guys would ever do, like turn a camera on the tour or anything like that?
Only I would do a documentary,
Right.
but I'd never do a reality show.
Right. Yeah.
Porn is an option.
Well, I mean, it is. I wouldn't, I mean, whatever gets it through, you got to pay those bills somehow,
Man, it's hot out there on the road.
Well, you
It's not for everybody.
you do
It's
what
tough in the streets, bro. Trust me.
you do what you can to make it up and down the road. I've always said.
That's it. That's it. There's all sorts of sexual innuendos now coming out.
Very cool. Very
Going
cool.
up and down that road. Up
Very
and
cool.
down.
Well, this
Thanks
is.
for having us.
Well, thank you guys very much. I know you're busy. Get on the road. Good luck with the rest of the tour. Where can they find info on your band, Dell, and anything that you're working on, Jason?
No, I'm good. Dell?
Dellacoma.com. It's easy. Jason's online. Jason O'Neill Todd. I don't think you do have a .com.
No .com.
Very cool. Well, guys, thank you for taking the time, and thanks for having us on your show.
Thank you very much for playing.
And
You guys are really good.
thank you very much. Well, continued success, and good luck
Appreciate
with
it.
everything.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you very much.
Thank you.
Got it.
Thanks to Jasin Todd and Dellacoma Rio for taking the time to talk to me for a few minutes after our show together on January 8th at the Landfill Saloon in Melbourne, Florida. Their acoustic tour has already wrapped up by now, but Dellacoma and his band will be touring all across the U.S. over the next several months. Check out Dellacoma at www.dellacoma.com for all the details. And I gotta say, it was an absolute thrill talking to Jasin Todd. As I mentioned, he was a founding member of Shinedown and played on their first two albums. Just so many classic, iconic songs from that band from that period of time, like Fly From the Inside, 45, Burning Bright, I Dare You, Heroes, Save Me, and their very successful acoustic version of the Lynyrd Skynyrd classic Simple Man. Jasin played on all of those songs. And all of those songs have very memorable classic guitar parts that people all over the world recognize. I didn't really want to get into the reasons why Jasin left Shinedown. As I understand it, had something to do with a falling out between Jasin and singer Brent Smith. To tell you the truth, I only had a few minutes to talk to Jasin and Dellacoma, so it wasn't really the best time and place to air out all that past dirty laundry. That's also sort of the reason why I didn't want to bring up his marriage to Melody Van Zant, who of course is the daughter of the late, great Ronnie Van Zant of Lynyrd Skynyrd. That's a very personal thing, and I didn't really want to get into that with him at the time. I do wonder if that makes it uncomfortable for him to play Simple Man, but who knows. I am curious to hear about Jason's brief time with Fuel as well, and just the story about what happened there. Either way, I would love to have Jasin or Dellacoma on the show once again for a more in-depth chat if they're interested. It definitely meant a lot to hear those guys compliment me and the rest of the guys from Vertebreaker when we did our set. And speaking of Vertebreaker, we do have a few upcoming dates. Check out our official website, www.vertebreaker.net, as well as all of our social media. On Friday, February 5th, we will be returning to one of our favorite places to play, the County Line Saloon in Melbourne. We'll be opening the show for our good friends Who Was I. This show will be their CD release party. Also joining us that night will be Murderfly and Kill the Sound, so that's a great show. Definitely check that out. We have tickets available. A week after that, on Saturday, February 13th, we will head down to the Shady Oaks Lounge in Palm Bay for our good friend James Cripps' birthday party. Go back and listen to my episode with James Cripps, by the way. It's a really good interview. We will be there with I Woke Up Early for My Funeral, Days to Come, and the debut of a new band called Siren. And make sure you follow me on Twitter at JackXConnor, like me on Facebook at facebook.com/JackConnorMusic. Also, as I mentioned, feel free to check us out at vertebreaker.net. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, make sure you email me at jackconnorpodcast@gmail.com or tweet me with the hashtag Phoenix Report. If you're listening to this on YouTube or iTunes, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and go back and listen to all the other episodes. Thank you guys for listening. This has been the Phoenix Report with Jack Connor on the twobadbrains.com.